Hello, my name is Quill, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back again. Today we're going to talk about my favorite math strategy that I've learned for addition. It could probably be applied to subtraction, but so far I've only seen it applied to addition. So, with addition, there are these other strategies you could use outside of traditional math, which makes things easier for some kids depending on how they picture numbers. So like for me, my favorite strategy out of them I'll go into later, but so the 5 strategies are decomposing, sorry, I have my list over here. Decomposing, compensation, landmark and friendly numbers, which is a build on of compensation, doubles and near doubles, which is fun, but it's not what I do automatically as much, and then number lines, which is a visualization of math. Now, my absolute favorite of those 5 is the very first one, decomposing, because it's something I've been doing for a long time, and I didn't know it. It was just something I did, and only really did it when I was kind of working alone, not really on homework and stuff, because my teachers didn't like it. But this is something kids do sometimes, and it's really good to encourage them to do it. So, with decomposing, what you do is you take numbers and you break them apart to be added later. So for example, if you're doing 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 7, well, when you're looking at that, my mind immediately goes 5 plus 5, that tells you 10, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. Now, how can I get to 10 fast? Well, if I break that 7 apart into 2 and 5, I can add the 2 to the 8 and get 10, that tells you 20. By the way, this involves you being able to hold numbers in your head and then add them later. So 20 plus 5, that's 25. Therefore, 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 7 is 25. Which is confusing. I'll do it written out later. That way it makes more sense. But yeah, decomposing is just something I've kind of done, and it involves being able to quickly add numbers to 10. Because 10 is the easiest number to add. It's just going to change that 0. I mean, the number in front of the 0. The numeral in front of the 0. Wow, my mouth is not working with me today. So, with that side of things, when you do, 342 plus 115. Okay, so 342 plus 115. When you're doing that, you immediately know that what were my numbers? 342, 115. So with 342, well, that 2 doesn't really need to be there yet, so take that off. It's 340 plus 115. So 340 plus 115, that takes you up to 455. So add 2 to that, 457. It's just really, it's a way to kind of break numbers apart and hold that number over here while you're doing the problem in a way that makes sense to you. It kind of throws order of operations out the window, depending on, but that's just in the case of really early math. It can be applied to orders of operation later. Decomposing is super helpful when adding scores and card games and dice, so Yahtzee or Phase 10. This is where I learned I did it, because I take the numbers and I kind of tree off and add them really quickly. But let's go ahead and get into the example section. Alright, so let's begin with this. So I have just started my screen recording on my phone because that's easier to work with than my computer at this time, due to the fact I don't have a way to connect a drawing board, which would make my handwriting much neater. So I've got a simple sketch app pulled up, and we're going to start with that number I was talking about at the beginning, with 5 plus 5. My handwriting is still horrendous. Or, hold on, I'm so sorry. I rearranged it the wrong way. Okay, so let's try this again. We have 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 7. So to begin with, I always pair off 5 and 5 immediately, because that gives you 10. Then you have 4 and 4, which would give you 8. So you'll add those two eventually. So then you've got this 7 that you can break down. That you can break down into 2 and 5. So this 2 and this 8 will then give you 10. So then you drop the 10 and the 5, and you get 25. And there's your first example. The next example we're going to do is going to be along the same lines, but it's going to be a little shorter. So like when you're doing decomposing, what you want to drill first is all the different ways you can make 10. So like for example, 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 9 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 8 plus 2. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. And all the different variations of how you can do that. So like 3 plus 7, 4 plus 6, 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8. Those sorts of problems are what you want to have to show to your students and kind of drill them in it, and then make it to where you move on to this like next level of what you're doing. So like 7 plus 5 plus 3, that gives you 15. Or 8 plus 4 plus 2, that would give you 14. Little things like that are what really like drives home what's going on. You can eventually begin to apply it to really long streams of numbers where you're doing things like, I'm actually going to make it smaller so I can kind of not take up the whole thing. Okay, so let's see. Let's do 247, 83, 94, 68, 22, and 945. There we go. Okay, so when we're looking at this, 10. And then 8 plus 2 is 10. And then if you do this 5 and this 4, you get 9. So that is 29. So over here, we'll put a 9 and a 2 up here. So then you have the fun of doing 2 plus 8, which is 10. Then you have this 9, and let's do this 2 for 11, which isn't quite 10, but it's pretty easy to get to that point anyway. So then you have this 6 and this 4, which gives you 10. So then you have 10 plus 11, that's 21, plus 10, that's 31, plus this 4 up here because you didn't use it. So that gives you 35. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So then you have this 3 that you add up here to the 2, which gives you 5. 5 plus 9. So that tells you if you break the 5 that you're getting from this, which we'll put over here. So this 5 you'll break into 1 and 4. So then you have this 1 and this 9 for 10. And then you add this 4 and you get 14. So 1,459 would be your answer. Sorry, my page is a mess. But that's just one example of a stream of numbers like you would have in like a card game of some kind. So the next stream of numbers that we'll do is we'll just do some really small ones. So let's say 7, 6, 9, 4, 3, 5, and 8. And we'll just add these. So when you're looking at this, the way I see it is I always go this way first with a 10. And then I know because I memorized it by accident, that 6 plus 5 is 11. But some kids will do that. 4 plus 8, that's 12. And then you just have this 9 over here that you'll add in. And so 11 plus 10 will give you 21. Plus 12, that's 33. Plus 9 is, so 33 plus 9. Having the numbers written out sometimes helps. So a 3 plus a 9, that'll give you 12. So that'll tell you 42. And there's your answer. You have 42 for your final part. Any other numbers are just kind of be repetitions of me demonstrating. So I encourage you to go out and find some fun numbers to play around with, as well as to really practice and ingrain decomposing for when you try and teach it to anyone. But, you know, you don't have to. And again, this is just one more way of kind of learning a strategy that you might see from your kids that is a perfectly normal strategy. This is a really helpful thing to do. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video so far. I don't think I'm going to do an end for it today. If that changes, this will just get cut out. But I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you next video.